survivors, and welcome to Survivor's Guilt, part of the Mutant Fam Horror Consortium, a community of like-minded individuals creating content and building relationships by and for fans of the drive-in. Go check out mutantfam.com for all the channels, podcasts, and shops featured in the Mutant Fam. Today, we will be taking a look at the 1986 killer robot flick, Chopping Mall. But before we get started, go ahead and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on any future videos. Now I hope you like weird after-hours sex parties in a mall furniture store that get broken up by malfunctioning security machines, because this movie's getting spoiled! Chopping Mall, written by Steve Mitchell and Jim Wynorski, and directed by Jim Wynorski, starring Kelly Maroney, Tony O'Dell, Russell Todd, Carrie Emerson, Barbara Crampton, Nick Segal, John Terlesky, and Dick Miller. Chopping Mall is about a group of friends who get locked in a mall overnight with three malfunctioning security robots who are determined to make them
have a nice day.
We open up to a suspicious-looking man looking suspicious and breaking into a jewelry store all suspicious-like before making a run for it suspiciously. But when a security bot shows up and tells him to stop, the sly crook pulls a revolver on it and begins firing. But to no avail, as bullets are not this bot's weakness. And when this man realizes as much, he takes off and the robot takes chase. The robot shoots the man with some sort of taser and neutralizes him before we find out that this is a commercial from Securitronics being shown to a bunch of shop owners in the mall. We are then introduced to the head of development for Securitronics Unlimited, Dr. Stan Simon, who unveils the mall's new security team, the Protector 1 series robots, who are set to be activated 1 week from tonight. And while Dr. Simon explains how the robots function, Paul and Mary in the audience share some odd and potentially racist opinions on the machines amongst themselves.
I don't know, Mary. The one in the middle has an unpleasantly ethnic quality.
While other audience members ask questions about the bots, and Dr. Simon explains that the bots don't kill the intruders, but merely neutralize them. I'm no scientist, but killing is a pretty efficient way to neutralize. But Dr. Simon isn't even concerned about the robots having to do that much, because the mall's primary security protocol is the steel doors that are time-locked from midnight to dawn. Dr. Simon demonstrates how the employee's ID badge will indicate to the robots who is their friend and who is their foe.
May I see your identification badge? Thank you. Have a nice day.
Same to you.
And he lets us know that the robots are absolutely foolproof.
Trust me. Absolutely nothing can go wrong.
And after a totally 80s opening credits, we get introduced to Allison and her friend Susie, who has set her up on a blind date this evening. We are then shown the control room where Marty, one of the techs, is smoking up a storm while the storm outside is lightening up the building, which causes his control room to start going haywire. And when he finally gets the alarm to turn off, he decides it's a good time to look at some old school nudes. Until the protectors become the defectors and decide it's time to make a deposit into the meat bank. Rest in peace, Marty. He died doing what he loved, getting his throat crushed by robots. We then get introduced to Ferdy, Michael, and Greg. Ferdy is nervous about his blind date with Allison, and Michael and Greg are working to get him to join all of them anyway. Cut over to Rick and Linda, whose car has broken down on their way to the after-hours party, and we find out that they are newlyweds and have started a business together. Rick is apprehensive about this after-hours orgy that they're heading to, but Linda uses her lead-eye mind tricks to convince him to go.
Susie's counting on us.
Honey, I don't care.
Okay. I guess I won't be needing this. Will I?
Back at the mall, Michael surprises Leslie, his girlfriend at work, reminding her of the party that they have planned later, before they get confronted by Leslie's dad, Todd. Cut over to another tech that has entered the control room to relieve Marty, not knowing that Marty has already been relieved, all the way to hell. And unfortunately for this tech, these killbots have a taste for blood, and they add this dude to the meat bank at deposit number 2. Flash over to the fun of the furniture store, where the couples are making out and dancing weird when Susie and Greg have to force Ferdy to meet Allison, but they end up hitting it off pretty well. We then cut over to the Protectors 1 through 3 who are going online on their respective floors, while the couples are going online in the furniture store.
You smell like pepperoni.
Well, if that's the way you feel.
Note to self, don't tell your wife she smells like pepperoni.
Wait a minute.
What?
I like pepperoni.
Oh. In that case,
Note to self, never mind that last note. And Allison and Ferdy are watching a movie before they start making out too. Cut over to janitor Walter Paisley, who is probably not making this floor any cleaner, not with that mop water anyway, who is busy getting picked on by his co-workers before finally getting picked off by Killbot number 1, making Walter Paisley deposit number 3 in our meat bank.
Bastards were gonna be trouble when they first brought you in here.
Thank you. Have a nice day.
Cut back over to Leslie and Michael, who have just got done getting down when Leslie asks Michael to go get her some cigarettes, but she has to convince him using her lead-eye mind tricks. But while he's at the machine, Killbot number 1 shows up and asks for a hug, and won't take no for an answer. Unfortunately, the Killbot's affection lands Michael as our number 4 deposit in the meat bank. Leslie, concerned as to why her boyfriend left for cigarettes and never came back, just like Dad, leaves the safety of the furniture store fortress and goes to find her missing muscle machine. But when she finds him by tripping over his lifeless body, she lets out a scream that alerts the Killbot that it is time to come through those doors.
Crap!
Unfortunately, Leslie, having been born yesterday, has never had to use her legs for running, and is unable to outrun the Killbot and its lasers. She finally gets to the furniture shop so that her friends can watch her die when the Killbot lands a critical hit right on her face, landing Leslie as deposit number 5 into our meat bank. But the situation escalates when Protector 1 notices its audience and calls for backup, and they smash their way into the fornicature store and chase down the deviants, leaving total destruction in their wake. But the furniture store fornicators make it to the storage room and have bought themselves a little bit extra time. As the group sets up a box barricade against the door, they brainstorm how they might be able to break free from these rogue robots. But the emergency escalates when the mall's primary security protocol is activated and the mall locks up until dawn.
Linda's right. We gotta get out somewhere we can run and get some weapons.
And to make matters worse, the computer system shut down all the phones. So the group decides that their only option is the air duct system, which will lead them to the parking garage. But they have to hurry as the Killbots are prepping to blow the door off its hinges to get to the intimate intruders.
Prepare for detonation. Proceeding to alternate access.
Allison, Susie, and Linda make it into the ducts, but the bots blow the doors before the boys can climb into the ducts, forcing them to flee while the Killbots give chase. Unfortunately for the ladies, the bots or the computer must have turned up the heat, turning the ducts into a duct oven. Do you see what I did there? Meanwhile, the guys head to the sporting goods store to keep the orgy moving along. I mean, arm themselves and prepare for the final battle.
Here.
They head out into the hall and fire off a few rounds to attract the Killbots. And when one shows up, they begin unloading on it. And then resort to blowing up a propane tank next to it, knocking it on its side. The Killbot's only weakness. Meanwhile, when Susie can't handle the heat, she gets out of the duct oven, forcing her friends to follow her into some kind of hardware store. And they hatch a plan to meet back up with the boys. At the same time, the guys are preparing an elevator in order to exterminate another one of the murderous machines, and the ladies are getting some gas can Molotov cocktails ready for their assault on the Killbots. along with some oddly specific road flares. But while the group gets ready to take on the 2 remaining machines, we find out the Killbot number 1 wasn't actually out of order, and after its quick propane-induced nap, it uses its squeezing arm to get itself upright, to continue its spree. The ladies, having left the hardware store, are then surprised by Killbot number 2, which was hiding in the shadows. And it starts chasing them down the hallway. But their screams of terror are intercepted by the guys, and they drop what they are doing and head towards the trouble to help out their ladies. The ladies use one of their gas can cocktails, but fire is ineffective towards metal types. So they continue running away. Unfortunately, in their retreat, Susie gets lasered in her calf, rendering her legs as useless as her friends as she cries out to them for help. That is until Johnny number 2 lights her up by using its laser to explode the gas can Susie had with her.
We've got to help her!
Thank you, and have a nice day.
And just as Susie succumbs to the flames of death, the guys show up just in time to pay their respects. Even in death, Susie smelled like pepperoni, landing Susie as number 6 in our meat bank deposits. But Greg's emotions get the better of him, and he proceeds to waste more ammunition on the killer robots. But when guns continue to not help the situation, they lure the bot to the elevator they rigged to explode, and after shooting at the tanks for what feels like days, Allison takes over and takes aim, exploding the tank and dropping the elevator straight into oblivion.
Nice shot.
Dad's a Marine.
The remaining group then heads to the restaurant to hang out and calculate how much they'll owe the mall if they survive, and play a game of who's responsible for my dead girlfriend.
Like, Susie thought you were in trouble. She just wanted to help.
I'm telling you, you should have kept her there.
Hey, look, she told you what happened. Why didn't you just leave her alone?
Shut up.
And when Greg plans to kill the machines by dying by them, Ferdy comes up with a better plan, suggesting that if they can get to the master computer, they might be able to shut the robots down, which is an idea Greg likes so much that it cues some awesome music.
Computer, huh? Let's go trash the
But when Greg runs ahead of the group and up to the next floor, he draws a bad card, so the bot sends him back 2 spaces.
Come on, guys, the coast is clear!
Which lands Greg back in that meat bank at number 7.
Thank you. Have a nice day.
And after they lose Greg, they get more bad news when they find out that the killbot in the elevator didn't die, and it's back up to its murdering shenanigans. The group runs away and breaks into a clothing store. You know, maybe these security bots wouldn't be killing them if they weren't acting like career criminals. I, for one, would like to see a movie from the bot's perspective. The group shuts and jams the metal door, prompting the bots to weld their way in.
Instructions. Attempt entry. Level 3. Affirmative.
Giving the group enough time to continue their trek to the control room. They stop on the next floor to bandage Allison up and to decide what the next phase of their plan is. Allison suggests that maybe they should split up. Ferdy says that's stupid, and Linda gets bummed out because she's not used to being chased around a mall throughout the night by killer robots.
I guess I'm just not used to being chased around a mall in the middle of the night by killer robots.
How does one become used to that? The group uses the short time the barrier has given them to catch up on some much-needed sleep, but are woken up by the sound of one of the bots getting into the store. But luckily, Allison comes up with a plan on the fly.
Why don't we give him some targets?
That even Johnny number 3 likes. Fooling the bot into shooting into a mirror to deflect the laser back at the bot and destroy it. And even though it was a pretty good plan, it cost the group 2 of their own when Linda gets shot by the haywire human slayer. And then Rick goes all kamikaze when he mounts a small motorized vehicle and drives it into the electrifying electronic.
Rick, no!
Killing himself and the bot. Which means Linda and Rick land as our 8th and 9th deposits, respectively. So if it costs 2 humans to kill 1 bot, maybe they should have used up their friends better. Oh well, hindsight is 20/20. Ferdy and Allison then decide to turn those frowns upside down and continue heading to the main computer. But when they realize just how many doors they have to choose from to find the control room, they decide it's finally time to split up. Only for one of the bots to eventually sneak up on Allison. But when Ferdy follows the screams to where Allison is, he is able to shoot out the bot's laser and then lead it away from her. Eventually, the bot backs Ferdy into a tight corner against the rest of them all, and Ferdy starts throwing everything at the bot except for insults. Maybe you should have tried insults, Ferdy. But after throwing bullets and a gun at the bot, Ferdy throws a fire extinguisher, and that crosses the line. So the bot throws it back at him, knocking Ferdy down for the count, but not finalizing the deposit. But the bot then turns its attention back to Allison, who just stood and watched everything happen. The bot then chases Allison into a pet store, and then when Johnny Number 1 cannot find her, it engages in slapstick comedy in the attempt to get Allison to laugh and reveal her hiding spot. Would you rather face off against a killer robot, or be covered in spiders and snakes? I, for one, choose death by robot. But when Killbot Number 1 can't find Allison, it rolls its way back out of the pet store, and Allison rolls her way out of the hiding spot, only to reveal her location when a cat jump scares her. And you know for damn sure that that cat did that on purpose. And the bot continues its chase, but Allison hides from it by hanging off the ledge of one of the floors, holding on for her dear life while the bot continuously searches for her. But when she can't hold on for any longer, she falls to the next floor, but luckily lands on a kiosk below. She then crawls towards a paint store while Protector 1 makes its way down the escalator. She starts throwing paint and primer everywhere, and then lures the bot to her location. And when the bot loses traction, Allison lights her remaining flare and uses the bot's catchphrase against it.
Have a nice day!
Torching the murderous machine, which is unable to escape the flames of the explosion. And as Allison limps away, she gets reunited with Ferdy, and the movie ends. So now, to find out, what are your chances of suffering survivor's guilt? This is where we take a look at our main characters and the death that surrounds them to determine what your chances are of surviving this movie. Starting off the meat bank deposits with Marty as our first deposit, technician Nestler as our second, followed by the incompetent janitor Walter Paisley at number 3. We then have the beginning of the end of the sexual deviance when the bots kill Michael, giving us our 4th deposit, and then Leslie as our 5th. And then the bots set fire to Susie, landing her at number 6, and then chuck Greg off the balcony, landing his as our 7th deposit. And our deposits round off with lovers Linda at number 8, and her guy Rick kamikazing himself into the deposits at number 9. Now let's take a look at our survivors. We've got not quite dead Ferdy, and our mostly final girl Allison giving us 2 survivors, which means that out of a total of 11 characters, only 2 survive, giving you an 18.2% chance of surviving this movie. Given those odds, how would these rogue bots make sure that you have a nice day? Let me know in the comments below. And also, make sure that you hit that thumbs button and subscribe so that you don't miss out on any future videos. And as always guys, Thanks, and don't die.
Thank you. Have a nice day.
This one's gonna be a hard one. No pun intended. Turtles movie. A sequel was all but inevitable, really.
Welcome back, video. Welcome back, video. Welcome back, Uncle Living Dead. Welcome back, video creeps. What up, guys?
What up? Welcome to my channel, Video Creep. Make sure you hit subscribe